changing gears completely. Yakuza.
Yes.
Do you want to take this away?
Yeah, so some interesting news. So the latest entry in the Yakuza series, which is Yakuza Like a Dragon, is actually now Series X and Series S launch title,
The
which...
worst name, by the way.
What, the Series X, the Series
Yeah, it's
S?
just hard to say.
I know, I
Anyway.
know. So basically, that change in itself is not a huge thing because that's actually only a small. It's been pushed forward slightly. But what's interesting now is that the game is not hitting PS5 in the West until March,
Mm,
which is wild because anyone that knows the Yakuza series, it's always been a PlayStation staple. It's
yeah.
they may have done some PC ports throughout these. I'm not sure, but it's generally always been a PlayStation series. Up until last year when they ported, so they ported Yakuza Kiwami, Kiwami 2, and Yakuza 0 to Xbox and put them all in Game Pass, and they're still in Game Pass now. I said last year, maybe it was actually earlier this year. This year's been very long, so it feels like that was 2 years ago
It's
that
been a
happened.
long year.
Yeah. So and I've actually been playing Yakuza Kiwami. So this is kind of why this news is also interesting to me because I've kind of started on the journey of playing through these really acclaimed, games, and I'm loving it so far. But so basically, to go back to what's releasing on, so it's releasing on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, as I said, PC and PS4 on November the
Mm.
10th. So it's coming to PS4 on November the 10th, but it's not coming to PS5 until March. And Sega have not really given a statement why at this point, why there's such a delay. And I say in the West because I'm not sure about Japan. Every article that I've read has said it's coming to PS5 in March in the West. So I would almost assume that it's maybe going to be available earlier in Japan. The Yakuza games have always had a very weird development history with the West. A lot of the games got ported after the sequels had even come out in Japan in the past. So there was such a long amount of time. And they generally now, I'm not sure if they actually tried to dub them over originally, but now they generally all are just subtitled, which makes sense because it's set in Kamurocho. It's set in this,
Mm.
very, very Japanese, city set of city blocks and things like that. It's obviously dealing with, Yakuza clans and things like that. But this is just really interesting because it's for it to not be a PS5 launch title, but to be an Xbox Series X for such a PlayStation focused series is really bizarre. And it makes you wonder, is it because of development problems or is it because of Microsoft? I don't know.
Oh, with
Do you think it
Sega?
Yeah, do you think that it's possible because of the recent
No.
history of them
No.
bringing stuff into Game Pass and ports?
No.
You
I
don't
mean,
think
like,
that
if
they've
no,
done an
because
exclusivity?
no, because I think even there's exclusive launch titles on the PS5 that are from Microsoft Studios now, and they were talking about acquiring Bethesda back in July, and that didn't change any decisions that Bethesda took from
I'm not talking
July
about
up to.
acquisition of Sega. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Oh, sorry,
about
I'm
the...
confused.
No, no, no. I'm not talking about Microsoft buying Sega. I know we mentioned that
Oh,
last week.
I thought
No,
that's
no,
what you
no,
were
no.
saying. You
No,
were
I'm saying, do
referring.
you think
You're just saying
Microsoft
that
has
like they've paid them some money.
they've done a deal to be exclusive on next gen for
Yeah,
a
maybe,
little bit?
maybe. I mean, like I said to you, like a lot of these deals, and I've seen some of these deals where you agree to something and then say we don't want you to say anything or give an explanation. Like that's a
Hmm.
part of the exclusive. And part of it is just like from a corporate perspective, you're putting it out there to people to go, oh, will PlayStation 5 get everything? What's going on here? One thing I do want to mention as well with this that I thought was, it's going to be, it's always bumpy, these transitions. And I feel like the fact that you can use your old games and plug it into the new system, it's always going to cause more issues. Is that if you start playing this game on PS4 and then you get a PlayStation 5, you can't transfer your save data.
Yeah, I heard
So
about
like,
that.
that's bad, man. Like,
I also
I really,
I will also, sorry, clarify that if you buy it on Xbox One and PS4, you will receive the free next gen upgrade, but
yes.
obviously the PS5 one won't be available till March.
Yeah. And also that, like, I know we've already touched on it before, but I will keep mentioning it. That is becoming an interesting thing because people are catching on pretty quickly to wait a second. If I buy the PS4 version, I get the PS5 version as well for free. And it's often cheaper to buy the PS4 version. And it kind of net results exactly the same, really. Like if you have the PS5 version, you have to put the disc into your system. With the PS4 version, you still have to put the disc into the PS5. So I do wonder what's going to happen with the sales and just like people's consumer behavior.
Yeah, just this particular example because it's always been a PlayStation series. It's just really interesting to me because it does give, it. I will say Yakuza has been gaining a lot more popularity in, let's say, the last 5 years since the Kiwami. So if you didn't know, the Kiwami games are the remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2.
Mm.
And then there's Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, and then 6 is the most recent game in the series. That's, I guess, like in the timeline, basically. So this game, I don't know if it's going to technically be a seventh game. It's very different as well. I don't know if you've seen any footage from this game, but this game is
Yep.
bonkers. It is absolutely insane, and like the game's turn based. Whereas every other Yakuza game, I don't know about the zombie one they made, but has been like like action beat 'em up style combat. But because the protagonist loves Dragon Quest so much, he sees all his battles in turn based. It's such a
That's so
bizarre
cool.
concept.
Yeah, I
But
just saw a bit of it where it talks about Dragon Kart, like a rip-off of Mario Kart.
yeah, oh yeah, and there's a whole kart racing. Like they've always been crazy, but and the thing for me is that, so as I said, I've been playing through them, but only Kiwami 2 and Yakuza 0 available. So I'll only probably play Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2 on Xbox, and then if they decide to remake 3 and 4, I don't know if that's been announced or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me if they do. Um, then I'll probably start resume from there. But it is just, yeah, Yakuza, like Microsoft now has a launch exclusive, which is a pretty strong one. It's not going to appeal to
Mm.
everyone, but they do have one, which is what you couldn't say before this news. Really, they had. There's definitely
Yeah, it's
games
true,
that
isn't
if,
it?
if you
Yeah.
buy if you buy a Series X, there's going to be games for you to play. Assassin's Creed, there's a whole bunch of games. But in terms of why you'd buy a Series X over PS5, even if you could get one now, which you probably can't get any of them, but is now there's a reason to get a Series X over a PS5 if you love Yakuza, basically, and you can't wait. So
Mm.
we
Yeah,
can
for
play it
me,
on your
like this whole,
PS4. Who knows?
yeah, I mean, this whole series to me has been like a series that I'd heard of, but really not heard much about, to really growing in popularity, like quite quickly. Like it's been pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I've listened to a lot of people talk about Yakuza for a long time before I ever got my hands on it, so I understand a lot more than I would have normally. I should say. I don't understand a
Yeah.
lot about Yakuza. I understand like in terms of what you should play and things like that, just because I've heard other people talking about it. But for someone brand new, like I could see, especially on Xbox, you're like, okay, Yakuza 0. Oh, I'll start with there, and they'd probably still be okay, but that's a prequel, and most prequels are generally done with being very fan servicey to what you know is going to happen. If you think
Mm.
about it, it's been created after. So it's really interesting, but just I feel sorry for PS5 players that were really looking forward to this game. Maybe if you can't wait, maybe get on PC or PS4. So.
Well, the fact that your save data doesn't transfer, it's sort of, I don't know, like, and we're probably a little bit different, but if I was a PlayStation exclusive player, I'd just probably hold off and wait until it gets released on the PS5. I have heard a lot of people talk about this, like, with Cyberpunk 2077, like a bunch of people are just like, I'm just going to wait until they're not redone, but, adapted for PS5 and Xbox Series X, and then play it then, which probably makes a lot of sense if you're happy to miss the initial buzz. And moving on to another famous Japanese franchise,